This is the statistics non-calculator worksheet D. So by now you should have done all the other worksheets A, B, C, and now you're going on to D. Now let's have a look at what this looks like. So this is what the whole sheet should look like. This is what you should have in front of you. Let me just get the marker up. Okay, so let's look at the first question. The first question says, what is the modal class? The modal class is the one with the biggest frequency, and in here the biggest frequency is 15, so the modal class is going to be 150 to 160. Write it in exactly like that. Question 2, which class contains the median? Here in the question they told us there are 50 students altogether, so the median, that's going to be the person, or the group contained in the median is the one that contains the 25th person. So let's count them up. That's the first 3 that there is, up to there is the first 18, up to there is the first 28. So straight away we know that the 25th person is going to be in this group, and that's what I could write in. I'm going to actually do the rest, so I could use this for my cumulative frequency later on, and I'm going to write in 160 to 170 for my answer in the answer space. Question 3, on the grid draw a frequency polygon for this table. So I need to draw a frequency polygon for this table. I need to plot the midpoints against the frequency. So the midpoints of each of these groups, make sure you're really fully aware of that. So the midpoints of each of these groups, I'm going to write them down: 145, 155, 165, 175, 185, and 195. And now I'm going to take my time to plot that. Read the scale carefully. The scale on this, every 2 squares stands for 1. So 145, I need to go up 6 and plot that. 155, I need to go up to 15. Right? It's the frequency that I'm plotting, so I need to go up to 15 and plot that. 165, I need to go up to 10 and plot that. 175, I need to go up to 12, so be careful with that, and plot that. 185, I need to go all the way up to 7, so that's 5, 6, 7, and then 195, I need to go up to 3 to plot that. Now you need to use a ruler. It is essential you use a ruler and a pencil to join these up. Okay, make sure you join them up, check it over, make sure you do it as accurately as possible. Going on to question 5. The table shows the probabilities that a spinner would land on a 1 or a 4. So if I look at the probabilities that are given, we know that all the probabilities in there should add up to 1. I'm going to add up the 0.25 and the 0.15, and that's going to give me 0.4. So what that means is the remainder, or the rest of them, 1 take away 0.4 is 0.6. So 2x plus x must be equal to 0.6. What that tells me is that 3x is 0.6, so x is 0.6 divided by 3. 0.6 divided by 3 is 0.2. So be careful with that. That 2x plus x is 3x. 3x divided by, 3x is 0.6. So 0.6 divided by 3 is 0.2. I'm going to spin the spinner 200 times. Work out an estimate for the number of times the spinner would land on 4. So how many times would it land on a 4? The probability of getting a 4 is 0.15. So I'm going to do 200 times 0.15. Always write that down. You're going to get a mark for that. Well, first of all, we're going to do 2 times 15, which is 30. Add 2 zeros. Take 2 decimal places off. That ends up giving me 30 anyway there. But be careful with this. You should be able to do this with a non-calculator technique. I've taught you how to do this. Make sure you fully understand it. Question number 7. I want to do the cumulative frequency for this. I'm using the table all the way from question 1, 2, and 3. And when I did question 2, the median, I did work out the cumulative frequency. Make sure you're okay with that and you definitely know how to do it. Always check that the last number adds up to the total. In this, we're going to plot the upper values against the cumulative frequency. So it's always the upper end. So 150 go up 3, 160 go up 18, 170 go up 28, 180 go up 40, 190 go up to 47, and 200 will go up to 50. Use a pencil, smooth curve, no ruler, it needs to be freehand. Question 8 says use the cumulative frequency graph to find an estimate for the median. this table goes up to, or this cumulative frequency goes up to 50. So I put a marker there. It's really, really important that you put a marker there. And you don't go any further forward. So you're going to half this to help you find your median. So from 25, you're going to go across and then down, and that will help you pick up your median value. And in my case, I reckon it's about 166. If you're slightly different from that, that's no problem at all. Part 9, question 9, use the cumulative frequency to graph to find the lower quartile and the upper quartile. Let's find the lower quartile first. Half of 25 is 12.5. Now you're going to have to go half values here. So that's going to be 10, 11, 12, and then halfway, and then draw a dotted line going across, and then down. Be as precise as possible, take your time, and if I read off that value, I'm getting 156. Yep, and again, if you're slightly out from that, that is no problem. So to find the upper quartile, I need to go across from 3/4 of the way up. And the best way to find that is to add these two, and that's why it's useful writing these numbers here. 25 plus 12.5 is 37.5. So from 37.5, I'm going to go across and then down, and I'm going to pick up my value there, and that I've got a 78. Question 10 says find the interquartile range. The interquartile range is the upper quartile taken with the lower quartile. Always write this down. Always write this down. The upper quartile, we just worked it out, was 78. The lower quartile was 156. So I'm going to do 178, take away 156, and that gives me 22. That's my interquartile range. Question 11 is often the last part of a cumulative frequency question. Find an estimate for the number of students whose height is more than 190 centimeters. So I need to go on to 190 on this axis, the height axis, go up along there, and then across. And because in the question it says more than 90, I need to know what this gap was here. My answer is not 47, but it's the size of that gap. In other words, 50 take away 47, which is 3 centimeters. So the number of students, it's actually not centimeters, the number of students whose height is more than 190 is just simply 3. Yep, okay, so just simply 3. Ignore the centimeters bit there. Okay, going on to question 12. We want to compare the box plots. So if I think about the median for the boys is 45, the median for the girls is 35. So I could simply write the median for boys is greater than the median for girls. Make sure I put the numbers in, 45 and 35. I need to find the ranges as well, so I need to compare it using two things, and the range I'm going to use for the boys, 70 take away 20 is 50, so the range for the boys is 50. The range for the girls is 80 take away 15, which is 65. So I'm simply going to write the range for the boys, 50, is less than the range for the girls, which is not 35, but 65. That should be 65 over there. Okay? Alright. What I need you to do is to make sure whenever you're doing this type of question, right, you always put it into context. Take your time, make sure you know exactly what you're doing, and you take your time to put it in context. I'm just going to change that 35 to 65. And one thing I'm going to say is always show your workings on here if you're working out the ranges. So I'm just going to say 70 take away 20, and that's 50. And then over here it's 80 take away 15, which is my 65. So that's how I worked out the range. Always put that on the side there. And remember, always put your answer in context. Okay, you should be pretty good at these. You are very likely to get questions like this either on the calculator or on the non-calculator paper, right? So make sure you're actually pretty good at it and you're totally sound.